We have talked about regular arrays. We just finished talking about two-dimensional arrays, including how to pass them to functions. Now we're going to go over the top a little bit with three-dimensional arrays. Over here we also have a special type definition that we call seed table, and it's basically a three-dimensional array. So this type def, it's just a shortcut, a label, and we use that over here when we pass that structure to the function. Now the main function is actually really simple, and I think it also makes it easy to follow the logic of the program. First, we're just going to declare a three-dimensional array to hold seed prices, and this is a theater program where we have sections, rows, and seats. And if you look at the data file, this over here is a section, so you see that we have three sections. This over here is a row within the section, and of course this over here would be an individual seed. So the first thing we do in the main function is fill the array, and then the next thing is we're just going to show it. So here we go. So this is what it looks like, and we keep track over here of the section numbers. And in between the sections we have a little blank line. We keep track of the row numbers, and we don't have individual labels for the seats. So when we go to the function fill array, we get an empty array here. We open up an input file stream, open up the data file that we have just reviewed, over here is our error message if we cannot read the data file, and if we can read it, then we now have a triple nested loop where we start with the sections, then the rows, and then the seats. And you see how these labels help to make it clear what exactly it is that the data means. Okay, and then over here we just read one element at a time, and then when we're done with this three-dimensional loop, then we close the data file. Now you see that this is not really clear, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what we always do over here and over here, and we move this inner loop into the intermediate loop, and then over here the intermediate and the inner loop inside the outer loop. Get rid of this, and you say to yourself, yeah, this is much more space that it takes. But look what you can do here. You can collapse the inner loop, the intermediate loop, the out loop. So it makes it much easier to manipulate the code and to isolate on the section that you want to see. Then after we have loaded the array, we go to the show array, and you see that we kind of do the same thing that we did before. Over here we just need to give the inner loop its own code block. Yep, so they all have their own little code block, and we just send it the seed table structure as that we call array, and we again have the const keyword. So if we would try to type array 1 1 1 equals 3, and you see that immediately that does not work. So that's your const keyword again. It should not be modified in a function over here that just wants to show the array. On the other hand, you can think of a situation where you take a three-dimensional array and you want to increase the prices, let's say with 10%. In that case, you would not want to use the const keyword, because you would be making modifications to the array before you send it back to the main function. But that's just a difference in what you want to use the function for. This is just to show something, and if you have another function that wants to increase the prices, then you could not use the const keyword. So over here again, this runs just fine. Notice that over here we use row +1 again, section +1, and we don't have any labels for the individual seats. And over here, this end line is over here at the end of the whole thing. And how do we get over here the blank line between the sections? You see some new lines over here and a new line over here. So you have to hunt for it a little bit. I always like to work with some end lines to make it a little bit more visible, but this will work too.